I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land, the Yagara and Turrbal people. I'd like to pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. This land has never been ceded, and no treaty has happened yet. Marhaba and Assalamu alaikum. These are the two main ways people in Palestine greet each other. Marhaba means welcome, and Salamu alaikum means peace be upon you. With generosity and peace, we greet each other and strangers alike for thousands of years. This is our culture. It is inherent in us, and it's not something that can be easily changed. To be welcoming and peaceful is deep-rooted in us. We are not a bunch of savages that are incapable of civility and coexistence. As a matter of fact, we taught today's world many of its civil ideas and concepts, such as coexistence. Indeed, we and other cultures have been part of humanity's history, no less than today's Western civilization, which is in reality a continuation for many other civilizations throughout history. While this sounds like common knowledge and needless to point out, but I feel we need to today, because that is conveniently missed from the public rhetoric. The Arab, and particularly today, the Palestinian image is always loud, rowdy, opportunistic, and indeed a terrorist. This is not a matter of coincidence, this framed image, nor it is a matter of misinformation. It has been a constant, intentional effort to dehumanize people who are to be colonized. This has been a tactic used throughout history. So it doesn't feel that bad for the colonizing nations and armies when they kill, torture, and seal the indigenous population. This kind of dehumanization can be clearly read in most of the reporting on Gaza today, even the moderate ones, even the progressive ones, ending any story or any report with, I quote, "On the 7th of October, Hamas fighters stormed across the fence and did so and so," which essentially means that the children of Gaza had it coming and Israel's reaction could be justified. Another example, which is also very commonly used, a very commonly used disclaimer when reporting on casualties in Gaza, and I quote, "In Gaza, 32,000 Palestinians have died according to the Hamas-run health authorities," which also indirectly means that these terrorists are probably lying about these figures. I have never read an article in Western media questioning the figures published by the Israeli authorities, for instance. I guess they must be civilized then. This dehumanization has been opacking so many details of what is happening in Gaza. Like that there is an ongoing attack on Al-Shifa hospital complex and surroundings in Gaza City right now as we speak. Atrocities. Women being stripped down naked. Children killed in front of their mothers. It's been opacking so many of the things happening in Gaza today, like what's happening in the Shifa, and that there's a famine right now in Gaza. People are falling dead from malnutrition due to severe shortages in food, water, medicine. That's having actually UN officials screaming for letting aid in now. Or for example, the extreme increase in miscarriage rate, 300% now from traditional benchmarks. Or that people die from preventable causes like infections due to lack of medicinal care and medicine. This dehumanization is not new. It enabled putting Gaza under siege for 17 years with no hope for a future, and no one was bothered. This same dehumanization had made it okay to expel approximately 750,000 Palestinians from their homelands in 1948 without allowing them to return. The injustices are innumerable, and there isn't enough time to list these injustices, let alone comprehend its immediate and knock-on impacts. However, with all the suffering and pain that is going on in Gaza, we have a chance to make a change and to make a lasting impact. We are part of millions in Australia and billions around the globe, and these are not exaggerated figures, that have refused to be complicit in genocide. We said, not in our name, and broke the cycle of perceived dehumanization. And together, we can change this perception. And the best way to do that is to speak up, loud and forceful, against any forms of dehumanization or injustice, whether direct or indirect, whether implicit or explicit. This means we won't remain silent when both sidism is used to silence conversations around an active genocide. We won't worry about hurt feelings when children are being killed or orphaned by the thousands. We won't say we don't want this conflict on our streets, while our country has a $1 billion arms trade contract with a side that uses starvation against a civilian population as a military tactic. It is time to boycott. It is time to put sanctions, and it's time to isolate Israel for its war crimes in every venue of our lives until it corrects course. It is time to boycott Israel politically, culturally, economically, until they comply with international law, end the occupation, and allow an establishment of a Palestinian state. Yes. This is not an act of hate or revenge,
This is justice.
but rather an act of courage and standing up for the right thing when it matters, especially when it's difficult to do so, for the greater good of humanity. Because what example is the world setting by allowing a country to decimate a population, burn them alive, turn their cities and towns into rubble and ashes with total impunity and without consequences? What world are we leaving for our children if nothing happens after this genocide and life continues as normal? As today marks Palm Sunday for many people, I am personally fascinated by Jesus' story. Born in the then Roman colonized Palestine, and then spent his early years as a refugee, and then returned home preaching against and despite of oppression. Walked back into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday knowing the risks, because that's the right thing to do. And that's what we Palestinians have been doing for a long time, for a very long time, from 2,000 years ago. Speaking up against oppression, never caving in, never yielding to a colonizer or a tyrant, and most importantly, never losing hope in a dignified and a peaceful life. And I think this is the peak of human civility. Thank you.